corner of the ESPN app and scroll down to live radio. Take us with you wherever you go. We're presented by Progressive Insurance.
This is our song right here, man. Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West.
Dan Orlovsky
D.O.
is putting Justin Fields. Monday Morning Dan, you know how that goes. That was, I guess he said this yesterday.
Monday.
Monday Morning Dan. Justin Fields is in the MVP competition, according to Dan Orlovsky. Here he is on Get Up yesterday. Listen.
I also said this, Greeny, that if Justin was somehow able to overcome it, he would be in the MVP conversation. I do not think that's an outrageous statement. I honestly believe Justin's play is going to warrant him getting into that conversation. Now, he is not going to win it with the way that Tua's playing and Patrick and all that stuff, but he has been so remarkable over this last month that you sit there and say that player, if he was on a team that was going to win more, would be in the MVP conversation. You want to talk about developing as a pocket passer. I want to leave. No, I don't want to leave. Can't. Now I have to. And can you go make something happen? The direction of the receivers down the field, like that's the perfect example of becoming a pocket passer to becoming a talented player. Here it is again. Reset. Don't leave just because you can, Justin. Hang, and deliver another perfect ball. Those are the things for me that will stand out because as great as a talent as he is, it'll all come back to can you develop.
But I'll tell you what, guys, where he convinces me a little bit.
Convinces you about what?
Fields is this. I see what Dan's not saying he's going to win MVP. What he's saying is Fields has nothing around him. Nothing. The fact that, remember when we were talking about he was keeping him in games before he was playing real well, just somehow keeping them in games with his legs doing whatever. Now he's taking it to another level, and he's not just keeping him in the games, but they're popping some teams, and he's doing it without an offensive line, without receivers, with first year under a new system. I get what Dan means. He's not MVP, but in a way, he's like MI, most impressive player.
MI.
Yeah, MI, not improved.
Acronyms.
Acronyms. Well, no, we're not making up acronyms for sure.
Acronyms.
You just did. But he's the most impressive. Who else is doing this with what he's got? I guess Lamar, but Lamar's much more experienced, coach, been there a long time, the whole thing.
I think it's just the MVP
you can't.
part of it for a team that's failing and a kid that had 3 good games of snack, crackle, pop. So I get what Dan is saying. He's not there yet. He needs to do what he's done the last couple weeks for the entire season. That's what Lamar did. That's the sort of.
And that's what Dan's saying. He's saying
that's the sort of stuff that will make you have a conversation about him. If he continues over the next 7 weeks doing some of this, you would have a conversation, but he wouldn't get close to the MVP.
But that's my thing as an athlete, man. When I hear, even if you want to simmer down expectations, when I hear MVP in the same sentence as a name, you can't do that. Like, bring it back to reality instead of living in this world where we're saying polarizing things on Hot Take Mondays, right? He's the franchise quarterback for the franchise. Like, that's a big thing for him when people question whether he can do that. Like, he's proving to you that he is that dude.
But it doesn't, that's right. But what Dan is doing, it's not just that, it's a hot take. It captures something that has not yet been captured publicly, right? Which is he's overcoming his environment in a way that is unusually good.
Well, I've been saying it all along without using the MVP. I said he's a mini Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
You have to surround.
Except not mini.
Hurts, you know what I mean. If Jalen Hurts was, if he was in Jalen Hurts' shoes with the talent around him, he would be in the MVP conversation like Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have it.
He doesn't have it.
So he's a mini version of that. Once he gets that.
What if you put him on the Cowboys?
He has an MVP ceiling.
Man, leave Dak alone, man.
What if you put him on the Cowboys?
He has an MVP ceiling. That's what he has.
Right.
Right?
But he certainly got to get some players.
Yeah, you need dudes around you, man.
How many players in the league could do what he's doing given the circumstances? A handful, right? And he's he's a guy who you were wondering recently, wait a minute, is this going to work out, or is he just in such a bad position in Chicago that they're going to waste his career, right?
Who said that though? Like I guess when you say that, Max,
me, I wondered out loud, like, is he in such a bad situation with the previous regime that they're going to waste these developmental
that's why
years?
They hired them.
Yeah, then they got rid of him. Then you had some hope.
They got rid of him, fired him, brought in Jay's buddy and my buddy Ryan Poles, the general manager that I passed over on Michigan Ave, good friend of mine. And they had a plan in place for him, which is we getting ready to take all the meat off, and we're gonna drop this thing down to a skeleton, to bare bones, and then we're gonna build it back up. And they got cap money. They can go out and get players. They got draft picks. And he's going to be a part of that.
Let's look at those numbers one more time. They just put up on the screen. Go ahead, Jay.
See, like this to me is where I feel like Justin Fields will be
just
in 3
while it's
to 4
up.
years. Yes, I see it. Total QBR second.
But what this indicates, Dan's talking about the last 3 weeks, right? These are all at the they're right either first, second, or third in the league and everything.
See, I feel like
the rest of the season.
I feel like in 2 to 3 years, we will be talking about Justin Fields as vying for one of the faces of the NFL.
Yeah.
He will be in that conversation.
He's number one out of that draft class right now.
Yeah. I mean, because it's key is how he plays. It's how dynamic he is. It's the off-the-field personality. It's the way he handles press conference. He's all of that.
No, I just was thinking because you gave a timeline 3 years. I'm like, well, Patrick Mahomes ain't going nowhere.
No. I'm saying he'll be vying for one of the faces. I'm not saying he's going to be the face. That's Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
500 to 1 odds that Fields wins MVP. Geno is 25 to 1 to 60 to 1. Kirk Cousins 50 to 1, 25 to 1. Tua is 12 to 1 to 5 to 1. He's now tied for the second favorite. Josh Allen now tied for second with Tua. Patrick Mahomes, on top of the heap.
So they just took Jalen Hurts completely out of it.
Yeah, I guess so. One loss.
That's weird.
So who's number 2, Key? You said there was a pretty big gap for you yesterday.
It's still a gap. It doesn't matter. It's still a gap.
Who's number 2? Okay.
It probably
it's Tua,
based on the way Jalen Hurts played yesterday, and they lost. And Tua played there. Tua and him are probably right next to him, but he ain't even in there. Jalen Hurts is not in there.
You mean Justin Fields is not in there?
No. Jalen Hurts isn't on there.
Oh, isn't on the list of right.
List,
well, he ought to be. Yeah,
which is crazy to me.
I agree.
But you're not gonna keep packaging me up with this Josh Allen stuff, though.
No, Josh Allen's out of the conversation for now. Josh Allen's out of the conversation for now. Just different guys can pop back, but right now it's like when Lamar started making bad decisions in the fourth quarter. He dropped out. Then he played better. He's in. Josh Allen had 4 red zone picks in 2 games. He's out of the conversation right now.
Every game
Jalen Hurts plus 600 to win MVP. That's up there, guys. Plus 600.
But it wasn't up on the.
We just didn't include it, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I'm reading off our board.
Oh, because we were showing the biggest movers, I think, in terms of the odds.
Okay.
Yeah. Stephen A., by the way, says Dak is the weak link in Dallas. Is he right? After this word from Omega Accounting, small business owners, lend us your ears. You may have overpaid on your payroll taxes during COVID. If you continued to pay employee wages during the pandemic, Omega Accounting Solutions may be able to help you recover a refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Schedule a free 10-minute call with Omega to find out whether or not you qualify. It is that simple. Call 800-704-2000 with any ERC questions. 800-704-2000.